Hello, in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to crochet this sweater. It's been requested by so many people, so today I get to show you finally. Okay, so for the materials we will need yarns. Using robin yarn, the small ball, I'll be doubling the strands. So white is going to be my primary color and the others will be my secondary color. We will also need a tape measure, scissors, and a 3.5 millimeter hook. I have already worked the first panel, so I'm going to work with you the second panel. For the body, I have used single crochets in back loops, and for the ribbing, I have used slip stitches and in back loop still. Okay. So we double the strands, and if you're using the chunky one, you just use one strand. Okay, so to start, we make a slip knot and then make a long chain equivalent to the length that you need. Remember, I showed you guys how to take measurements, so I'm not going to repeat it here. So I'm going to make mine a long chain, and when I'm done, I'll come back to get started on the body. Okay, so I have my chain, and here I'm just confirming the measurements. It's important that you confirm the measurements. Yeah, I always start from the ribbing going up to the body. So we're going to start with the slip stitches, then the single crochets on the body. Yeah, so my ribbing, my hem has 8 slip stitches, so I'm going to work 8 slip stitches. You can choose to work either 8, 10, or any number that you want. Okay, so I'm going to work 8 slip stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 8. So I'll just confirm. Yeah, 8. So now we continue with single crochets. Yeah, now this we are working the body, so we continue with single crochets all through to the end. So I'm just going to work this through up to the end. Okay, I'm here at the end of the row, so I'm going to work in my last stitch, and then I'll chain 1 and turn. So going forward from here, we're going to work in back loops, yeah, except for the first stitch. Yeah, so these are back loops. I already showed you, but yeah, those are back loops, and we're going to work in them going forward to the end of our project. Yeah, then for the first stitch, the reason as to why I always work in 2 loops is because it gives me this even finishing. Okay, so now we work in back loops going forward to the end of our project. Okay, it's the pattern that we're going to be using. So and since I already taught you how to work in back loops, I feel like I should just skip. Anyway, I'm gonna show you for a bit. So when you get to the ribbing, remember we are still working in back loops, so you continue with slip stitches but in back loops the way I am doing. Okay, at the end you chain 1 and then you turn. So now you continue with slip stitches. You remember to count. Okay, you make sure you count or you use a stitch marker. I mean, this part is so simple. So this is basically the pattern that we're going to use going forward. Slip stitches, then single crochets, all in back loops. Yeah. So go ahead and work this through to the end, and then we turn one more time, and then I leave you to work this part. Okay. I'm here at the end of the row, so I'm going to work in my last stitch. You see, I'm working in two loops on the last stitch. Yeah, I told you the reason. So you chain one and turn, and when you turn, you work in two loops like that, and then you continue in back loops. Okay, I hope I'm not confusing you. When you get here, remember to count the stitches on your hem. Okay, the ones now you're working in slip stitches, you make sure you count. So guys, this is the pattern that we are going to use going forward. It's just a repeat of slip stitches and single crochets in back loops. So guys, from here I'm going to leave you to go ahead and complete this part. Let me show you what I mean by completing this part. Okay, so we are working this part. Okay, that's why I'm telling you to go ahead and complete it. Then when I come back, we will work the middle part, now the part with the three colors. Okay, so I'm done working on this part. I have left 2 stitches for the neck extension and for the chest part, so you can place it on the other part to see if they are aligning. Okay, yeah, just the way I'm doing. And now from here I'm going to attach my next color, which is black. Now we start working the chest part. Okay, okay, so we've left 2 stitches, and the reason as to why we leave 2 stitches is because we will work the other colors on the shoulders, and that will give us enough space for the neck. Okay, so now we attach the next color, which is black. Yeah, you make sure you are attaching it from the wrong side of your work. So you chain one. After you attach, you chain one, and then you turn. So with the new color, you work in back loops for the first row. Okay, because we don't want the color to show on our right side, so you work in back loops from start. But then when you turn, now that will be in your second row, in the last stitch. Now you work in 2 loops. I hope I'm making sense. So you can choose to work along with the tails, so that you won't have a lot of work when you're done now. Weaving in, weaving in is a lot of work. So you can choose to work along with the tails, or you can choose to weave in later. Okay. So this is what we've been doing. It's a repeat of what we've been doing. So the only thing that is changing right here is the color, but the pattern is still the same. Yeah, same pattern, different color now. Since we are familiar with this, it's basically a repeat of what we've been doing. I'll leave you to go ahead and complete this part of black. Okay. Normally what I do to determine how many rows I'm working with the colors, say I'm working with a neck of 7 inches. Yeah, so what I'll do, I'll minus 1. The 1 is for the white color that will be separating the other colors, and then the remaining 6 I divide by 3. Yeah, so now each color I'll be working 3 inches. Yeah, I'm just giving you for instance. Yeah, so now here are the inches that you're working with. Depending on your size, you minus 1, that is the white color that will be separating the other colors, and then the remaining inches you divide by 3. So now you make sure each color gives you 3 inches, or the inches that you'll have found. Okay, and if it's the Jamaican one, normally doesn't have any color separating the other colors, so it's usually the measurements that you have divide by 3, so each color gives you what you get. Okay, yeah, so go ahead and complete this part. When I come back, we will be working now. We will be separating black from red with white. Okay, now we attach the white color. Okay, so we attach from the wrong side. Yeah, so remember to always work along with the tails, or you'll have a lot of work weaving in the ends. Okay. And now for white, we're working 2 rows. Okay, so one going down and then the other one coming up, and then we attach the next color. So go ahead and complete. It's just going down and then coming back, and then we attach right. Okay, so remember how we worked the black color. It's the same way we are going to work red. Yeah, so from here I'm going to leave you to go ahead and complete this part. You work these 3 colors, and then when you get to white, now we work the other shoulder. Okay, so it's the same pattern, so it's definitely a repeat of what we've been doing. You work red, you complete, you work white, 2 rows, then green, and then white. Okay, so yep, I'm going to go ahead and leave you to go ahead to sorry, I'm going to, okay, before I leave, I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so you see the 3 colors. Yeah, so you complete red, and then you turn with white, and then green, and then you proceed with white. Okay, so I have completed working the green. Now it's time to attach the white. Yeah, so I'll attach white, and then I work 1 row down. Then when I come right back, I extend with 2 more stitches. Remember the stitches that we skipped, we left. Yeah, for this part. Yes, So I'll extend with those 2 stitches, then we work the other shoulder. Okay, still the pattern is the same. So I attach white, then this row I'm working it to the end, and then I come back. So the second row of white now is when I'll do an extension. Okay, yeah, so I'll work in this stitch and then work 2 more stitches, 1 2, then I'll add a turning chain, and then I'll turn and I'll continue with the same pattern. So from here everything is the same as we've been doing, so I'll leave you to go ahead and work the remaining part, so that when you come back we will be joining now the 2 panels. I mean, I have already worked my other panel, so you'll go ahead and work the other panel, and when you come we join it together. Okay, another thing that you need to remember is if you began with white with black on the colors, now when you're starting the other panel you begin with green. Okay, so I'll complete, then attach one side and work one sleeve, and then when I come back I'll show you how to do it on the other side. Okay, so I'm here already. I have worked my one sleeve as I said, and as you can see, these lines, they are running right from the wrist to the shoulders. Yeah, they are running across. I mean, this is the part where most people get wrong, and I'm here to show you how you can go about it. Okay, so first of all, when you're joining the 2 panels, you don't join up to the shoulders. I mean, you don't join the shoulders together, so you just join up to the underarm and then you leave it there. Okay, because the colors are supposed to pass across the shoulders to the neck. Yeah, so now you just work single crochet on the neck sides, on the neck parts. You work single crochet on both of them. Yeah, so how to attach a sleeve? Yeah, right under your underarm you attach the yarn, and then you make a slip knot. So you attach, just pull the yarn through the stitches that are there, and then you make a slip knot like that, and then you make a long chain equivalent to this length of your sleeve. Okay, so when you're done, when you have enough stitches, you chain one more and then you work slip stitches for the cuff. Okay, So in my case, I'm going to work 10 slip stitches for the cuff, and then I'll continue with single crochets just like we were doing on the body for the sleeve part. Okay, so now you continue with single crochets just like we were doing on the body. Yeah, so you work single crochets all through, and then you attach them to the border of the shoulders. So work this through up to the end, and then I'll meet you at the end to show you how to attach them on the border. Okay, so now we attach. Okay, so after working in your last stitch, remember the border has stitches, so you attach in two stitches on the border. So that's one, yeah, and then another one. So remember, when you turn, you start from the last stitch that you worked, okay, not the ones that you attached on the border. Yeah, if you want to be safe, you can use a stitch marker or a different color just to mark the last stitch. So when you turn, it's the same pattern. Yeah, it's the same pattern except for the cuff. Now we are going to be working a reduction on the cuff because we want the cuffs to be fit. Okay, so to work a reduction, what you do is you leave the 10 stitches and turn. You don't work in them. Okay, so you just leave them and then you turn. It's important that you count your slip stitches. So what I'm saying is I want our cuff to be this small, yeah, to fit the wrist part. Yeah, so now you turn and then you continue with the same pattern. Here you don't chain one, okay, you just work in two loops. In the very first stitch you work in two loops and then you continue working in back loops, no chaining one. Okay, so you continue like that through to the end. Yeah, so I'll meet you again at the border to show you how you attach for the second time. Okay, so we are here again at the end of the row. So you work in your last stitch, make sure you work in all stitches. Okay, so when you work in that stitch you mark it and then you attach on the border. Now that's one, and then you do it again, two, yeah, and then you turn. So you work from the last stitch you worked on your row. Yeah, yeah, so that's the pattern for this sleeve. So I'll leave you to go ahead and complete this part, and then I'll show you how to finish a reduction. Okay, so we are right here. You work in two loops, yeah, and then you continue just like we were doing. So then you chain one and you turn. Okay, it's the same pattern as the bodies, except for this we are working reductions on the cuff and then we are attaching it on the shoulders. Yeah, so for the sleeve, it's a repeat of doing a reduction, then one complete row, one incomplete on the cuff. So we attach again on the border. You make sure you count, okay, 2, and then when you turn, you work in the very last stitch that you worked on your row. One more time, a reduction, you work, and then you leave the 10 slip stitches, and then you turn your work. No chaining one, you just continue, but you start from the very first stitch, yeah, in 2 loops, okay, and then you continue in back loops. So we attach for the last time. Yeah, remember what I've told you. The pattern is you work a reduction and one complete row, then you remember to attach in 2 stitches on the border, and if you have a stitch marker, that will make your work easier, okay. Stitch marker will make your work easier, so I advise you use it. So that's basically it for this part of the sleeve. Yeah, you just remember you to work in 2 loops here, and then you continue working in slip stitches. You see, now the reason as to why we don't chain one is so as we don't create a space, yes, a space on the cuff. Okay, and chain one and then you turn. So now I'll leave you to go ahead and complete up to this point, so that when I come back, we will be now working the colors, okay. You continue up to the tip of the shoulder, and then we attach the other colors, okay. So now on the last row, and while on the last row you work single crochets right from the wrist all the way to your neck, okay. You work single crochet from your wrist all the way to your neck. So you work through the shoulders to the neck, okay. So you chain one and cut the yarn, yeah. And now it's time to attach the other color. Now we are working with green here, so we attach from the wrist, yeah, the way I'm doing, okay. And we work slip stitches. So in the first 10 slip stitches we work the normal slip stitches, normal 10 slip stitches, okay. Normal, I mean in back loop. So then from here we are going to be working in 2 loops, okay, in 2 loops. You have to make sure that your tension is not tight, okay. If it's tight, you'll have a problem working in these stitches, so you have to loosen them, not too loose, not too tight, okay. So that's basically it, working in 2 loops with slip stitches all through to the end. So I'll leave you to go ahead and complete this row. I'll meet you at the end of it to show you how we work in the next row, okay. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row. You chain 1 and you turn. Remember we are working in 2 loops, okay. So you work in 2 loops. Now you have to make sure the stitches are not loose, I mean are not tight, because if they're tight you'll have a problem passing your hook through them. I mean, slip stitches, so you make sure the tension is loosened, okay. So far this is how it looks. I'll leave you to go ahead and complete this up to the cuff, okay. So I'm right here. Now we don't complete this row, the second row we don't complete. You chain 1 and then you cut the yarn, yeah. So then you attach white from the cuff, okay, from down here, yeah, that's where you attach white from. So white is only 1 row because it has to appear thin, yeah, so it's going to be only one way, so it's 1 row only, okay. You attach and then you work slip stitches all through to the end. So from here we work in 2 loops, okay? In 2 loops. It's only on the cuff that we work in 1 loop. That's back loop, okay? So I'll leave you to work your way up to the shoulders, and then that's where we will cut the yarn and we will attach red from the cuff, okay? We won't attach from the shoulders, we will attach from the cuff. So I'm at the end of the row again. I'll work my last slip stitch and then chain 1 and then cut the yarn. So we attach red from here, okay? Okay, so since white is only 1 row, so you just work in back loop only. You just work in 1 loop all through to the end, okay? So again, I'll leave you to go ahead and complete this to the end, and I'll meet you there. So now at the end of the row, you chain 1 and you turn, yeah? And remember, when you turn, you're working in 2 loops. So when you turn, you're working in 2 loops, okay? That's the one thing that you should always remember, and to make sure that your stitches are not stiff, you loosen your tension. So go ahead and complete up to this point, yeah, and I'll meet you there. Right here, so again, you chain 1 and you cut the yarn, you don't complete, okay? And then you attach white from there. For white, it's only 1 row, so it's only one way. Yeah. Okay, so work this row to the end, and then we attach black so that I show you how to join this part of the sleeve, okay, on the shoulders. So again, I'll leave you to work this row of black. You're only going to work one row to the neck, and then I'll show you what to do next, okay? Okay, so when you get here, you chain one and then you cut the yarn. So the other side, yeah, this side, you work single crochets, and then you work slip stitches with the black, with the black color that I'm working with right now. So you first of all work single crochets, and then you attach your black or green, the one that you'll be working with. So then you work slip stitches into loops. After working the black color, yeah, in my last stitch, you chain one, and then you turn both sides, yeah. The right sides, you make them face each other, yeah, so that we can attach. So you turn like this, right sides facing each other. So we are going to be joining using front loop for the side that is close to us, and back loop for the side that is away from us. Sorry, back loop for the side that is close to us, and front loop for the side that is away from us. Yeah. You insert your chain in back loop on the other side, and then front loop on this side, and you pull the loop like that, and then you chain one. So you insert, and then you pick the yarn like that, and then insert again this side, you pull it through, and then chain one, insert, pull the yarn, insert on this side, pull the yarn again, and then chain one. So that's how we are going to be joining. Okay. I'm just finishing up. You remember the yarn that I was working with? Yeah, I'll leave the loop alone. I'll just work there and leave it hanging. Then I'll chain one and cut this yarn. So now you turn. And so far this is how it looks like. So now you continue with the previous yarn. You continue working with it in 2 loops, just the way we were doing the other colors, okay? So you work like that up to the end, just the same way we were doing with the other colors, okay? When you get here, you chain 1 and then you cut the yarn. So now you attach weight from the cuff, just the way we were doing before, okay? So when you get here, now we are back to working single crochets, okay, but in back loops. I mean in 2 loops, sorry. So single crochets in 2 loops. So I'll leave you to go ahead and complete this row to the end. I'll meet you there to show you for the last time how to attach, okay? So I'm here at the end, so you just attach the same way we were doing in 1 stitch, 2, sorry, so then you turn. So that's the pattern for this sleeve. I'll leave you to go ahead and complete, and when you complete you join the sleeves together, okay? And then we will work the neck together. When you finish working on the sleeves, this is how they should be looking like, okay? So you go ahead and join from inside, of course, with whichever method you know best, okay? Okay, now the final part, now the neck. So we work the neck. Since the neck is plain color, um you attach your yarn from any corner, okay, from any side of the shoulders. So I'll attach mine here, and then I make a chain of 5. Yeah, if you want it to be long, you can make a longer chain. If you want it to be short, you can also make a shorter chain. Okay, so I'll just make mine, and then I'll work slip stitches. So my neck will have slip stitches all through. Yeah, because it's a round neck. So the attachment, you'll just attach the same way you've been doing with the sleeves. Yeah, yes, like that. And then you turn, you work again slip stitches, now in back loops. In the last stitch, you chain 1 and then turn again, slip stitches, and then you attach 1, 2, you turn. So that's basically the pattern for the neck. It's very simple. I know from here you can go ahead and complete, and then you attach, and then that will be it for this sweater. So this is how it should look like when you're done. You will go ahead and join it together, and that will be it for this sweater. Oh, it's funny how it's been in my phone. This tutorial has been in my phone since last year August. I'm so happy I got to make it finally, to put it out here finally. I hope you enjoyed making. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.